Again, this is what we're going to cover today, 9-1 warm-up, 9-2 warm-up, and then tonight's homework is the 9-3 video and homework. So 9-1 was your circles, okay? If you remember the circles, standard form is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. So because you are going to take an open note test, my advice is to be trying to condense your notes. So those of you that jumped in and out of your notes like 17 times during the quiz, know it takes a long time, and then you're running out of time. You're going to have more questions than you had on your test than you had on your quiz, so keep that in mind. I would say you want to kind of condense your notes maybe to one note. Maybe use the review note or whatever it is so that you're only going in and out of one note instead of having to dig through a week's worth of notes to find your question. Okay, so this one says, the first one says, find the equation in standard form. If the equation of the circle with the given information center, 6, -3, which would be your HK, and point on the circle, -2, 4 would be your XY. So I already have the center, which is one of the things you need for the circle, but you also have to have your radius. You can either find the distance between these 2 points to get the radius, or you can, which I think is easier, is plug these in. So the H would go in, the K would go in, the X would go in, the Y would go in, and then you're solving for R. So if you did that, it would look something like this. H is -2 X is -2 minus H squared plus X, or Y is 4 minus a -3 becomes +3 squared equals R squared. And then I'm just going to work that out. So this becomes -8 squared plus 7 squared, 64 plus 49, 113 is R squared. If it had asked for radius, I would say that the radius is the square root of 113, but it's not asking specifically for the radius, it just wants the equation, which means I didn't even have to go through that last step. I'm just going to plug all the information I need into the equation. So it'd be x minus the h, so -6 squared, plus y minus the k, y minus a -3 plus 3 squared, equals the radius squared, which is 113. And there's the standard form of this equation. Any questions on that one? Okay, number 2 says write the equation of the circle in standard form, then identify its center and radius. So if you want to highlight or circle number 2, this is an example of what a quiz question could be. So you're going to get one of the 4 conics, right? Circles, parabolas, ellipses, hyperbolas. Am I missing something? Nope. And so this is what it would look like if you got a circle. Yep, you can get any kind of these shapes for the quiz. It could be a circle, a parabola, an ellipse, or a hyperbola. And at the end of today's notes, you're going to see there's a way to identify what's what from this equation. So if I look at the x, whatever's in front of the x squared and the y squared, it's the same, which is the case here. Then I know already that this is a circle. So before I even start, I would know it's a circle. So I'm going to have to complete the square. This time I got to complete the square twice. Hang on. Okay, so I'm going to group together the x's. And I'm going to group together the y's. And I'm going to bump the 17 to the other side. Then I'm going to take out the 9 from the first set of parentheses, both the 9 and the 54. And the 9 from the second set of parentheses. And then I've got to complete my square. So take the 6, divide it by 2, that's 3, square it, it's 9. I'm going to add the 9 here, and I normally add the 9 here, but because I took out a 9, I have to multiply it times 9 first before I add it, which means I'm going to add 81. Then I'm going to do the same thing with the second set of parentheses. I'm going to take the 4, divide it by 2. It's 2, square it, it's 4. Add the 4 in here. And again, I'd normally add the 4 here, but I'm going to have to multiply it by 9, which means I'm going to add 36. Then I get 9 times x plus 3, square root the first term, square root the last term, take the sign from the middle, plus 9y minus 2, again, square root the first, square root the last, take the sign from the middle, and then negative 17 plus 81 plus 36, and I get 100. We good so far? Okay, now it's a circle, and a circle can't have a number on the front. So the next thing we're going to do is divide everything by 9. So I'd get x plus 3 squared plus y minus 2 squared equals 100 over 9. And there's my equation in standard form. So if I'm doing this in the quiz, I would go through that steps. And then it's going to ask you specifically for your circle to graph it. So I'm going to graph this and also identify the center and the radius. So the center, negative 3, 2, and the radius is the square root of 100 over 9, which is 10 over 3. If I was to graph this, I'd go negative 3, 2, and then this is 3 1/3. So I go 1, 2, 3, a little bit past it, 1, 2, 3, a little bit past it, 1, 2, 3, a little bit past it, and 1, 2, 3, a little bit past it, and then I connect my points to get my really bad circle, but you get the point. Questions on number 2? We good? If you give me a thumbs up, I know I can move on. Okay. Number 3 says find the intercepts of the graph of the circle. So remember intercepts, x-intercepts, we plug 0 in for y. Y-intercepts, we plug 0 in for x. So if I want to find the x-intercepts here, I'm going to say x plus 5 squared plus 0 minus 4 squared equals 25. And I'd get x plus 5 squared plus negative 4 squared equals 25. X plus 5 squared plus 16 equals 25. X plus 5 squared equals 9. Square root both sides, and in doing so, put that plus and minus on the front. And I get x plus 5 equals plus and minus the square root of 9, which is plus and minus 3. Subtract that 5, which means I'm going to get 3 minus 5 and negative 3 minus 5, or negative 2 and negative 8. So the x-intercepts here are negative 2, 0, and negative 8, 0. Then comes the y-intercepts for when x is 0. So 0 plus 5 squared plus y minus 4 squared equals 25. 5 squared plus 4 minus 25. This is 25 plus y minus 4 squared. Subtract the 25. Square root both sides. It's a 0, so plus and minus 0 doesn't matter. Y minus 4 equals 0, and y would equal 4. This time I only have one intercept, which is fine. Y-intercept, 0, 4. If you had graphed this, which you could have graphed it to double check that, you should have seen it overlap with those points. Okay, so that's circles. Now we switch to parabolas. So parabolas, there's two forms, right? If it's a vertical parabola, so if it opens up or down, then it's an x squared. X minus h squared equals 4p times y minus k. If it's positive, it opens up. If the 4p is positive, it opens up. If it's negative, it opens down. If it opens left or right, then it's a y. Y minus k squared equals 4p x minus h. So the h always goes with the x, the y always goes with the k. And if it's positive, it points right, and if it's negative, it points left. So for number 4, the vertex 0, 0, that means that's my h and my k. And a focus of negative 2, I'm going to graph. So 0, 0, negative 2, 0. This is my vertex. This is my focus. Again, for me, I love the visual. It helps me. I know already that this points left, which means it's a y squared with a negative 4p. The only other piece of information I need from this graph is what P is. So this is 2. The distance between the focus and the vertex is 2. So I'd get y minus 0, because that's k, squared, equals negative 4 times 2, because that's p, x minus 0, because that's h. And then just simplify it. Y squared would equal negative 8x. And there's the equation of your parabola. Questions on that one? Okay, more parabolas. Number 5 says find the vertex, the focus, and the directrix of the parabola and sketch its graph. So here again, this is an example of what you could see quiz-wise. So this would be a quiz question if it was a parabola. First thing I got to do is complete the square. So I group the y squared and the y together. And I'm going to bump the x to the other side. I want to complete the square on the left. So negative 4 divided by 2 is, and I don't need the negative, so 4 divided by 2 is 2. 2 squared is 4. I'm going to add a 4 here and also over here. Factor the left side, square root of first, square root of last, sign from the middle. Put it in the parentheses and square it. And then on the right-hand side, I can't leave the 4 attached to the x. The x has to be by itself, so I take the 4 out of both of those. And now my equation's in standard form. So that's the first part of the question. Get it into standard form. Now identify the vertex. If it's a parabola, it will tell you what to identify. So vertex is the first thing, negative 1, 2. If the y is squared and the p is positive, this means this is a parabola that's pointing to the right. If 4p equals 4, then p equals 1. Now I go to the graph. I plot my vertex, negative 1, 2. I know it points to the right. And I know P is 1. So 1 point to the right is my focus, which is 0, 2. 1 point to the left is where I send my vertical line through, which is my directrix, which is x equals negative 2. So now for my question, like as far as a quiz goes, it's going to ask you for the vertex, it's going to ask you for the focus, and it's going to ask you for the directrix, and then the graph of it, just like we did. Questions on that one? Okay, 6 says find the standard form of the equation of a parabola with vertex. So I'm already going to graph this. Vertex 5, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. Here's my vertex. Focus 3, 2. 3, 2. Here's my focus. Already I know this is a parabola that points left, which means it's a y squared with a negative p. I can also figure out p right now. 1, 2 is 2. And now I've got all the information I need to plug it into my equation. If it's pointing left, I know it's a y. Y minus k squared equals, and it's a negative 4p x minus h. So this would be y minus the k, which is 2, equals negative 4 times p, which is 2, x minus h, which is 5. Simplify that, and I get y minus 2 squared equals negative 8x minus 5. And there's my equation. You do not need to find and graph the intercepts on the question for your quiz, if that's what Emily, that was your question. If that's what you mean. The intercepts are not one of the things the quiz is going to ask you for. It's going to ask you for the vertex, for parabola, vertex, directrix, focus, and graph. That's what you'll get asked. And again, we'll do like a quiz review together on Thursday or Wednesday when I see you again. I have a quiz review for you that goes through one of each of those kinds of questions. And the directions are going to be the same. I literally copied and pasted the directions from the quiz, so you're 100% ready for it. Okay, any questions on 9.1 before we go to 9.2? And there were no questions on the discussion board about 9.1's homework. So remember, just keep track of that stuff. Like if you have a question, please put in on the discussion board 9.1, question number whatever, 9.2, question number whatever. And that discussion board's on that module, the distance learning module. All right, number 1, now we're talking about ellipses, okay? So off to the side, I'm going to put the same thing, kind of go over the general form or standard form of the ellipses. So if it is a horizontal ellipse, then it means it's wider than it is tall. And that has an equation that's x minus h squared over a squared plus y minus k squared over b squared equals 1. So a couple important things here are that it has to equal 1 for an ellipse, and the a is the larger number. So if the larger number is under the x, then I know it's horizontal. These are called your vertices. These are called your co-vertices. The longer axis is the major axis, the shorter axis is the minor axis, and on the major axis would also be your foci. If it's vertical, then it's taller than it is wide, and the larger numbers under the y. So the order doesn't really matter. The y could come first or second, but the y is going to have the a. So larger is going to be underneath the y. And again, order doesn't matter. Because they're both positive. Obviously, it's going to matter when we get into ellipses. Into hyperbolas, because it's a minus. And then here's my center. Oh yeah, here's my center. Here's my center. The major axis this time would be the vertical one, so these would be my vertices. These would be my co-vertices. And my foci would fall somewhere on that vertical axis. So the foci is your C, distance away from your center. The vertex is the A, distance away from center. And the co-vertices is the B, distance away from the center. So just by looking at number 1, there's lots of information you can tell me. 1 is that the larger number, this would be A, so A squared is 36, making A 6. This would be B, B squared is 4, making B 2. And because that A is underneath the Y, this is going to be a vertical ellipse. My center, what follows X, change the sign, that's 2. What follows Y, change the sign, that's negative 5. So then from here, I can graph 2, negative 5. And because it's vertical, I'm going to go up and down A. So I'd go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which is 2, 1. Down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which is 2, negative 11. Those are going to be my vertices. And then my B, which is 2, I go right and left. 1, 2, that's 4, negative 5. 1, 2, that's 0, negative 5. And those are your co-vertices. Now I can connect these to make my ellipse. I have the center, I have the vertices, it's asking for the foci, so I need C. So the other thing that we know about ellipses is that C squared equals A squared minus B squared. And this is going to change for hyperbola, so it's important that you know the difference. And then it's going to ask for eccentricity too, which is C over A. So if C squared equals A squared, which is 36, minus B squared, which is 4, then C squared equals 32 and c equals the square root of 32, which is 4 root 2. And because it's vertical, that means I'm going up and down that. So that's a little bit less than 6. So it's somewhere over here and somewhere over here. But that means it's changing the y coordinate of my center. That's where it goes from. So the last thing you're going to, well, not the last thing, but then the focus, we're going to take our center and only add the focus onto the y. So it'd be 2, negative 5 plus 4 root 3, and it'd be 2, negative 5 minus 4 root 2. Sorry, not root 3. And then the last thing it's going to ask you for is e, which is 4 root 2 over a, which was 6. And e is 2 root 2 over 3. So if this was your quiz question, you're going to complete the square to get the, not the quiz question. We'll get to that later. If this was a question on your test, here's your center, here's your vertices and your co-vertices, here's your foci, and here's your eccentricity. Questions on that one? Okay, number 2 says find the standard form of an ellipse and graph. So I'm going to kind of zoom out on this so we can see all of it. Okay, I can pull in a graph if you want to, but you can also just eyeball the vertex 0 plus and minus 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. Sorry. Hang on. Clean this up a little bit. 0 up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So those are my vertices, which already tells me this is a vertical ellipse, which means that the A is going under the Y. So the X gets the B, the Y gets the A. I also already know what A is because it is 8 away from my center. So A is 8, and I know my center is the halfway point in between these two, which means my center is 0, 0. Now the only other thing I have to get from this is B. They give me the foci is 0, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, which means C is 4. So A, 8, C, 4. In order to get B, I'm using C squared. So 4 squared equals A squared, 8 squared minus B squared. 16 equals 64 minus B squared. Negative 48 equals negative B squared. So B squared equals 48. And it's not asking me for B. I actually, in the equation, keep it as B squared. So you could square root that, but you don't even need to because we're not graphing. Oh, we are graphing this. Sorry. We're going to go B equals square root of 48, which is approximately 6.9, right? Just a little bit less than 49. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's my B. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. B's a little bit less than that, so connect it. And now get the equation. So we said X gets the B, Y gets the A. So X minus H would be 0 squared over B squared would be 48 plus Y minus K, which is 0 squared over A squared, which is 64, equals 1. Now the order here doesn't matter, but I can simplify this. And there's the equation. This time it asks for the equation and the graph. Questions on that one? All right, number 3 says find the standard form of the ellipse. Foci is plus and minus 5, 0, and the major axis length is 14. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Focus, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Focus, which tells me this is horizontal. My center is 0, 0. And C is 5. Major axis length is 2A. So it's telling me A is 7. So I would go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nope, sorry, it's on the same axis. It would go 2 more, 2 more. That would be my vertex, okay? But again, I don't even need this because it's not asking me to graph. I just need the A. I need to know what A is. And now I need to know what B is. So C squared equals A squared minus B squared. 25 would equal 49 minus B squared. Negative 24 would equal negative B squared. And B squared would equal 24, which we can leave it that way because I just want the equation. If it's horizontal, then the X gets the A, the Y gets the B. So X minus 0 is going to stay X squared over A squared, which would be 7 squared or 49, plus Y minus 0 squared is going to be Y squared over B squared, which is 24, equals 1. And there's the standard form of this ellipse. Next one has vertices at 0, 2, and 8, 2. So I already know it's horizontal. The X is going to get the A. Now I've got to find my center. So I'm going to find the midpoint of the distance between, or the midpoint of these vertices. 0 plus 8 over 2, or 2 plus 2, and 2 plus 2 over 2, 8 over 2, which is 4, 4 over 2, which is 2. You could have also counted and found the middle, which would be 4, 2. There's my center. And the distance between that, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the vertex is 4, which means A is 4. Then it gives me minor axis, which is 2B. If 2B equals 2, then B equals 1. Now I've got everything I need. So X minus H, and remember it's different this time, so X minus 4 squared over A squared, 4 squared would be 16, plus Y minus K, which is 2 squared, over B squared, which would still be 1, equals 1. You don't need the over 1, but you can have it there, it's still right. Okay, questions on that one? All right, the last one, and again, this would be like a quiz question. So if the quiz gave you this, again, on today's notes, you'll learn how to check to make sure that it's an ellipse. You'd know this is an ellipse before you even start. And then begins the complete the square. So I'm going to group 9x squared and 36x. And I'm going to group 4y squared and 24y. And I'm going to bump the 36 to the outside. Take out the 9. Take out the 4. Take the 4, divide it by 2, square it. It's 4, add it to the other side after you multiply it times 9. Take the 6, divide it by 2, it's 3, square it. It's 9, add it to the other side after you multiply it by the 4. So I get 9x plus 2 squared plus 4y minus 3 squared equals negative 36 and positive 36 cancel out, but there's one more 36. Because I know this is an ellipse, everything has to get divided by 36 because it's got to be equal to 1. So I get x plus 2 squared over 4 plus y minus 3 squared over 9 equals 1. That's the first part. Get it into standard form. Now identify all its parts. So my center, negative 2, 3. A squared is 4, so A is 2. B squared is 9, so B is 3. C squared would equal a squared minus b squared. Wait, sorry, just kidding. Switch that. Hopefully you would catch that because there's a mistake there, right? 9 is the bigger base. So that's the a, which means this is going to be vertical. So a squared is 9, a is 3, b squared is 4, b is 2, and then c squared equals 9 minus 4, c squared equals 5, c would equal the square root of 5. Now I'm going to plot all the stuff I know. Negative 2, 3, center. It's vertical, so I'm going up and down the a, which is 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Right and left the b, which is 2. And already you can draw your ellipse. So vertices, negative 2, 6, negative 2, 0. Co-vertices, negative 4, 3, 0, 3. And for my foci, which are going to be on the major axis, I'm taking my center and I'm adding and subtracting the c from the y. So negative 2, 3 plus root 5, negative 2, 3 minus root 5. And the last thing it asks for is your eccentricity, which is c over a. So if this was my quiz, I would do exactly what we just did. Talk through the whole process of completing the square, finding all the information, graphing it. All of that would go in a video. And it probably took me like 3 minutes. I don't want to watch a 10-minute video, okay? So try to practice it before you do it so that it's not all over the place. Okay, so this is quiz or the homework question that came in, which a lot of you had something similar to this. Okay, these numbers were kind of big, so I probably won't be this mean to you on your quiz, but just keep in mind the process is the same. So this is definitely an ellipse. I have to group these. 16x squared minus 192x, and then 81y squared plus 810y. And then I'm going to bump the negative 1305 to the other side. Okay, then I got to take out the 16. That's 12. Take out the 81. That's 10. Equals negative 1305. Then 12 divided by 2 is 6. 6 squared is 36. And I have to do 36 times the 16. So I'd add 576. 10 divided by 2 is 5. 5 squared is 25. So I'd have to do 25 times the 81. 25. So this is 16x minus 6 squared plus 81y plus 5 squared equals 2025 plus 576 minus 1305. And I get 1296. Okay, that's where your mistake is. Okay. So just divide everything by 1296. 1296 divided by 16 is 81. 96 divided by 81 would be 16. Center 6, negative 5. A squared is 81, so A is 9. B squared is 16, so B is 4. The A is under the X, so it's horizontal. And then the last thing you have to find, C squared equals 81 minus 16 to get, 81 minus 16, to get the C, which is square root 65. So I would have gone from my center, right and left 9, up and down 4, and then right and left root 65. So that should answer the rest of those spots. Oh, God. Chewbacca has arrived. They're not paying attention to your camera. Sorry. Perfect timing. My kids are losing their mind. All right, I'm going to unmute your mic, so if you have any questions while I let you go, you can let me know, and then I'm going to let you guys go one at a time, so please wait until I tell you you can leave so that I can double check the attendance. Okay, so again, when I call your name, feel free to head out. If you've got questions, you can still message me, guys. Yeah, he did try. That's what mattered. He came out eye period last week while you guys were taking the quiz in an Elvis costume, but no one was looking at their camera. And I was like, babe, you're wasting them. You're wasting these. Yeah. All right. Andrina, you can go. Have a good day. Catherine, you can go. Have a good day. Josiah, you can go. Have a great day. Yeah, you can leave. Eric, you can go. Well, you... Bye. Emily, you can go. Juan Carlos, you can go. Have a good day, guys. Sebastian, bye. Andrew, you can go. Logan, you can go. Aylin, you can go. Lily, you can go. Mia, you can go. Bye. Have a great day. Carol, you can go. Connor, you can go. Dante, you can go. Thanks, you too, guys. David Delgado, you can go. Thank you, you too. Gabby, you can go. Ben, you can go. Dre, you can go. Have an awesome day, kiddo. Bella, you can go. I already said bye to you, Bella, though. Naya Carrera, you can go. I should make you stay because you're the last one in. Malika, you can go. Ryan, thanks, you too. Ryan, you can go. Samuel, you can go. Sophia, you can go. Bye. Get some sleep. Andy, you can go. Bye. Bye. Have an awesome day. See you guys Wednesday. Gretel, you can go. Hannah, you can go. JCL, you can go. Naya, you can go. Rachel, you can go. Have a good day, guys. Jenna, you can go. I got everybody. JC, I said you before, but you can go. Hey, how's your brother? Yeah, is your brother okay? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I kind of imagine anybody that's been overseas is... So is he quarantining in a room? Oh, God, that sucks. Tested again? Okay. Okay. Well, that's good. Okay. Yeah. Like, if you look back on your answer, it's probably the format. The way that WebAssign wanted it was to take that fraction and kick it out front and then give the rest. I don't care. Your test will be in like in the actual fraction. So as long as and you could double check that that's what it is. Your numbers, if everything else was right, that's probably what it was. It was just marking it wrong if the fraction was left in if it was left in the bottom, it actually took it and pulled it out to the side. I don't know. Does that make sense? Okay. Yeah, then it was probably just that. It was just marking it wrong based on that format, which is dumb. Yeah. Okay. You're welcome. Naya, you good? Okay. Bye, guys. What? No, I said I should have made you stay because you were the last one. I was kidding. All right. Bye, Naya.